welcome to a Pod of Tea podcast, your go-to place for teas and chats. I'm your host Emma, and I've got another guest on today, someone who's not been on the podcast before, one Emily Longmore. Hello, Emily.
Oh, hi. Thank you for having me.
Hey, this is great.
Hi.
Inspired by the fact that we can't go out and see people at the moment, I've decided to reach out, and all the people that I've had my eye on that I'm like, I need to get you on my podcast. I'm now texting, and I've had my eye on Emily because she is an amazing baker. Oh my God.
You.
Oh, yeah. She is it. The downfall. Yeah, maybe later. The downfall of this idea was that I was like, okay, I'll get Emily on and we can talk about tea and cake. And then I realised I could not eat the cake that I knew that you would make. So I do have a piece of cake here from the shops, as we were discussing this before we started this, a shop bought cake, which is in my current state, like it arrived 2 days ago. Jack bought it and I already had to have a piece.
Of course you did.
I cannot
You've got to try it. You've got to make sure it's okay. Yeah.
Make sure it's okay.
100%.
Yeah, so we're going to have a socially distanced afternoon tea.
Yay! Yeah, we are.
It is 3:12 on a Friday. Perfect time for afternoon tea.
Very specific.
I know. The joy of technology. My computer trouble. So everyone, we're going to let you know that 3:12 is the ideal time for an afternoon tea when socially distancing.
Excellent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are you having in afternoon tea today, Emily?
Well, I'm not having a full-on afternoon tea because it's difficult to source many things at the minute. But I obviously have tea. I have loose leaf English breakfast tea.
Very nice, very nice.
It's very delightful. Stick with a classic. Really should be having afternoon tea, which I do really like, the Fortnum & Mason afternoon tea. Love Fortnum & Mason. Favourite shop ever. It's amazing. But I've gone with an English breakfast tea because it's a good standard. And I have made, to go along with it, some tea loaf. Because tea and cake, tea loaf. It's your choice.
It's the most, you could not combine tea and cake more than with a tea loaf.
Exactly. And, it's not traditional afternoon tea cake, but I thought it was appropriate.
This is it. I was thinking, oh God, how far do I go with this? I mean, if we were to do, what would you consider to be the traditional afternoon tea? What components? If you were to go to a reputable venue,
as I may have done in the past.
I know, we may have frequented.
I'm a fan. Well, you get the sandwiches. You normally get a little nice selection of sandwiches, don't you? And you get the tiered plates. I'm not sure what you call it, but the tiers. So you have sandwiches, and then you have scones. Scones, not scones.
You're a scones baby. Now, I actually discussed
I don't want to start something, but
we're laying down the gauntlet in team scones. Scones? I can't even remember. I don't know what I say because my first job was in a cafe and people would say it in every which way and I would just copy whatever they said and I've lost my own identity. So now I just say scone.
Okay, good. Well, you're not offending anyone. That was nice. You're very neutral.
Yeah, I am Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Scone.
Scone. It's definitely scone.
It's done.
So you have scones, and then you have little petit fours and little cakes on the top, and everybody does all sorts of different types of this. A lot of chefs do their own version, and a lot of bakers do their own version, and they guest somewhere at a nice fancy hotel. They do versions. There's a Beatrix Potter afternoon tea out there. There's an afternoon tea bus that goes around London. Not at the minute, obviously. But,
right now.
In the future, it'll be back, I'm sure. There's lots of different afternoon teas out there. I've been doing some research.
Excellent.
My sister Eleanor has done some research.
Shout out to Eleanor Harding. Hello to you.
Lockdown. And we discovered the history of afternoon tea. Which is
yay.
Exciting. I mean, I find it quite exciting. I'm sure you do too.
Emily, I have a podcast that I've been running for over a year about tea. If there is one topic that is going to pique my interest, you found it.
So this is courtesy of afternoontea.co.uk, which is a website I have been on before. It's excellent. You should go to it. And they have all sorts of deals, and it's great. And they say that because of tea consumption increasing dramatically during the early 19th century, it's around that time that Anna, the 7th Duchess of Bedford, had a sinking feeling during the late afternoon. I mean, we know what she means. You know, you've had your lunch, you get to you're like, come on, I need a biscuit. But she went, no, I don't just want a biscuit. Give me a full afternoon tea. Sure, those were her exact words. And at that time, it was usual for people to just have 2 meals a day, which is craziness, really, because all I think about lunch after I finish breakfast. I don't know about you.
What were the 2 meals? Was it just breakfast and dinner?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No wonder she had a sinking feeling. Do you know what I mean?
I'm having a sympathy feeling. And I had lunch. No.
So that's why she started having a pot of tea and a bit of a snack kind of halfway through the afternoon, just privately. And then after a while, she started inviting her friends. Not surprised. Her friends were like, this seems like a great idea, given that we're starving.
Yeah.
In the day. Again, their exact words.
Yeah.
So she started inviting her friends round to partake of afternoon tea with her. And then because she was a bit of a society hostess, all the other society ladies decided to do that as well. And then the trend of afternoon tea came on. So there you go.
Brilliant. What a trendsetter. What was her name again?
Anna, the 7th Duchess of Bedford.
I am raising my steaming cup of Earl Grey to you, Anna. 7th Duchess of Bedford.
Reminds me, I didn't ask what you were drinking. Earl Grey. I'm drinking
Earl Grey, yes. It is my go-to. If I go to somewhere to have afternoon tea and they say, what tea do you want? I usually go for an Earl Grey. It's like a treat. It's so nice. It's like whenever there's a tea offer or something, they're like, oh, pick any tea you want. I'm like, I know where I'm going. I know. Before don't you reel that list off, Sonny Jim. I'm getting the Earl Grey. Oh, well done, Anna. This is great. She started a wonderful tradition.
But did you know? Oh, there's going to be a few moments like this. Are you ready?
Oh, great.
Did you know that you can actually have low tea?
No.
Low tea is actually afternoon tea, and that's different to high tea.
Oh, there's categories.
So high tea is served at the dinner table around 5 or 6 p.m., but that was for the middle or lower classes. So that was kind of in place of a late dinner, rather than being as well as. I mean, props to Anna, because like I'd go for as many as possible. So yeah.
I would have high and low, please, and ideally one in the middle.
Exactly, but low tea, which is afternoon tea, which is traditionally served around 4 p.m. So we were, so quick maths here, I can't do quick maths. However early we were.
We are 48 minutes early.
Thank you.
I don't know how I did that. The tea is working.
Not going to get there. Yeah, so that was intended to fill the long gap between meals rather than actually fill you up.
Oh.
There you go. How exciting.
Such a good idea. Because I do, like, there's... which country is it that have the coffee and cake tradition? I feel like it's Denmark. There's a word for it.
I feel like there's quite a few countries that have that kind of tradition, and I can think of the words in my head, but I'm not going to pronounce them because I can't.
The amount of times I've read the back of it. Yeah, no. The amount of times I've read the back of a tea ingredient list on the back of a tea box, and I've gone, I don't know what this word is, but we've committed and we're recording. But yeah, there's like this long tradition.
Yeah,
that's all you need. It's just a great combo. And when there is a slump in the afternoon. Like I always feel it at work. Like I have my lunch and it's like your metabolism's like kicked in, so your body's just like pulling all of the energy to your stomach. So you're just feeling. All I want to do is nap. Yeah. Whereas if I know that in like an hour I can have a cup of tea and something sugary, I'm like, yes.
That's something to aim for.
It is. It is something to aim for. I've just realised. So is your tea loaf made with or without sugar?
It's made with sugar.
With sugar, aha.
Yeah.
Are we having sugar? Done sugars. So,
small amounts.
I hope you don't mind me bringing that up.
No,
it's just interesting. As someone who is a baker and makes the most incredible, delicious cake, Emily can't normally eat that many of them. Which is just,
the irony.
It's just, I just, but it makes it so special and wonderful when you do have one.
I've had very, very, very tiny bits, and I can tell you that you can taste the tea.
Can you?
You can. So I got this recipe from my mum, who makes excellent, wonderful cakes.
I've tried this tea cake.
Right? Tea loaf,
it's
I'm
so
sure you
good.
have. It's
yes.
great, isn't it? And you put butter on the top. It's a great time.
Yeah.
So you make it by actually adding proper tea into it. But I also soaked the mixed fruit in tea overnight to give it a bit more of a tea flavour and to make it all nice and, delicious.
Yeah.
That's what I did. That was a top tip from my godmother, who, when I was making Christmas cakes, she was like, soak the fruit in tea overnight and that'll give it more of a flavour. And she was right. Wise. So wise.
That's so wise. I've not made tea loaf before, and how is this possible? I don't know.
Oh, I'll send you the recipe.
Please do.
It's very easy, and you don't need eggs, which is good because at the minute you don't need eggs. Eggs are quite hard to come by for some people at the minute, which is a real shame. So this recipe is good because you don't need eggs.
That's really good.
It's simple. It's very easy to make.
Maybe I need to put this, if you don't mind it being shared. Is it a family secret recipe?
I don't think so. No.
I might put this on. If you follow Instagram, if you follow my Instagram account, I'll see if I can pop it on there underneath when this episode airs. As the premiere of the episode, I'll put the recipe under it in case anyone wants to try and make it, because I can say with absolute certainty that this tea loaf is delicious because I have tried it. Sorry, getting croaky. Oh, here we go again. I've got like this.
About the tea loaf, aren't you? You're just.
I'm really thinking about the tea loaf, and in the current climate, anytime I need to cough, like this alarm bell panic goes off in my head of no, don't do it. So then I just get more and more husky.
Right now, so it's okay.
Yeah, Emily can be further away.
It's hundreds probably.
Hundreds of miles. Okay. Yes.
Well over.
Oh my gosh, Emily! I mean, how many personal details do we want to give out over a podcast? I don't know.
What are you going to say?
I was going to mention Quality Street. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Emily, yes. Emily can I say where you live? Near?
I mean, can
Emily,
you pronounce it? It's a question.
Quality Street? Yeah. Emily lives near the Quality Street that Quality Street chocolates are named after, and I walk down it. It's great.
What a claim day.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a bit of a convoluted way it's named after it. It's all to do with a J.M. Barrie play and things like this. But yes, it's very exciting. It's very, and it is really cute. The street is really, really sweet.
Very, very idyllic. I've caved. I'm starting to eat the lemon. And it looks. So I've got a lemon drizzle cake for my afternoon tea,
that is a great cake. You cannot go wrong with a lemon drizzle cake. You really can't.
There's a fruit theme between what we've both chosen today, and I love fruit cake.
None of them are traditional afternoon tea cakes, I don't think. No, but that's fine. That's fine.
It's gone avant-garde.
It's bold.
Oh man,
I wanted to mention on this podcast, because I've been thinking about it, as you can tell. Done some research. Yes. You knew I would.
Yeah, I love it. This is, if you ever want to invite someone who's going to be thoroughly informed on your show, get Emily Longmore on.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be epic.
Oh, too funny. Very keen. Very keen. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was the excellent Facebook group that I'm in called Rate My Tea.
Oh.
It's really good. It's very funny. Everybody is very funny. And they post some excellent pictures of tea. It's basically just constant pictures of tea. And everybody kind of says, yeah, that looks like an amazing cup of tea, or, oh, I'm not sure about a cup of tea. But it's great.
Oh.
It's
so
really,
like on the colour and the receptacle, I guess?
Generally the colour. People judge mugs as well. But it's a very friendly place. Like, it's not a judgmental place. It's just like a a nice place, and like over Christmas, some of the members sent Secret Santa presents to each other, and they don't know each other. They've only met through this group. I just think it's really beautiful.
That's so lovely.
Place on Facebook. So if you need some more Facebook to, just look at pictures of tea and have a great time. Rate My Tea is a great time.
This sounds good. See, I'm not on Facebook, so I miss out on some things sometimes. I just need to get myself back on there, really. Just for this Rate My Tea page. It's so great. I love how people can just get so into something, and then how you're not going to look at that and see anything overly negative, are you? You're just going to see cups of tea and a bit of humour. There's
been a few gates, not going to lie, but absolutely hilarious. So yes, it's
Rate My Tea. I don't know if you can see it. You probably know. Okay, I was going to try and show you my tea so you could rate it, but the camera is on my laptop and you can see what's going to happen.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. No, that would be a real shame. Take a picture really and send me it.
I'll do that. Yes. Oh yeah. No, I can take one as we're talking. Oh, technology. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, I do spill a lot on this podcast. I mean, how would I rate my tea? I don't know.
How would you rate your tea? What sort of colour is it? Is it the colour of He-Man? Because that's a great tea.
Of He-Man?
Yeah.
Cartoon?
If your tea is the colour of He-Man, you're doing things right.
Oh my gosh. That's the new gold standard to tea that I was not aware of. Right, that photo is winging its way to you. He-Man tea.
I just got it. Yeah, it's a good way of grading a tea. Yeah, you see, that's decent. Yeah.
Yeah, I let it brew.
Yeah. You could tell you've, let that brew.
Phew. Can you imagine the pure embarrassment I would feel if you could turn around and said, Emma, that is an awful looking tea. You have no qualifications to do this podcast.
Who am I? Who am I to pass judgment on other people's brews? But,
I don't know, you are from the royal family of tea in my mind, because Charlotte is the person who got me into tea in the first place. And so to explain how me and Emily know each other, it's quite great, actually. So in the first instance, I went to university with Emily's sister Charlotte, and we lived together afterwards as well. However, me and Emily became better friends when we both worked at a certain toy shop together.
We did indeed. The experiences we had. Memories.
Memories, yeah.
No, it was lovely.
It was lovely. London toy shop.
And we met lots of very nice people and made lots of good friends. And some people met their husbands there.
Some did. I mean, we don't like to name names, me, but you met at uni. Yeah, you worked with your husband there as well, though, didn't you?
Kind of. Ian was the reason that I started working there, so yeah.
Yeah, it all comes back to Ian. That's a little in-joke, everyone. You don't know Ian, listener. Well, you might if you do. Anyway.
Rate My Tea people probably do.
Yeah.
On there.
I mentioned Ian on this podcast before as the person who invented... Yes, because he came up with that idea of having a cup that had like a filter at the bottom for your tea bag, so you could have the strongest cup of tea possible without the tea bag falling out and hitting you in the face at the end. That was Ian, right?
That does sound like something Ian would come up with, yes.
Otherwise, there is a friend of mine who maybe doesn't talk to me anymore because they've you've attributed my finest invention. Yes,
sounds like
I do remember him. I really do feel like I remember Ian and Eleanor having a very excited conversation about it once.
I would say that's correct. Yes, I would. Yeah, that sounds like them. But yes, Charlotte, my sister Charlotte, drinks about 50 billion cups of tea a day. So yeah. You're right, she is. Although I have to say, there is, between my side of the family and Ian's side of the family, I'm not sure who drinks the most tea. Because Charlotte drinks about 50 billion cups in a day. So she, pulls up the average quite a lot. But Ian's family, constant tea. I mean, it's a great time. You go to their house, constant tea. I'm known for drinking tea slowly at their house. I feel like it's just average. But no, it's probably not average, actually. I do like to nurse it quite a lot. But just constant cups of tea. It's wonderful.
Oh, yes. I'd say my dad in particular, as soon as the cup's empty, he's looking around who's doing it? He's I'm not doing it. He's doing it because it's so I think I probably drink a bit more than Jack's family.
Yeah.
On the front. Yeah, but that's had to cut. Yeah, the whole caffeine intake and stuff is changing.
Yeah, of course. How are you finding that?
Okay. I kind of was very heavily reliant on caffeine, I think, before, because I got pregnant during the biggest event I do at work, which is like this mammoth task of lighting and things. And I end up drinking about 3 cups of coffee and then all the tea and all that sort of stuff to keep myself going through it. So God knows how this happened. I was that stressed and highly strung, but there we go. She's a fighter. So then it was like going cold turkey, because then I found out, and then I was like, oh God. So I went from drinking like all the caffeine to like none of the caffeine to I'm going to have a bit of caffeine because this is too much. So I kind of have like, I allow myself maybe 2 cups of actual strength tea a day and so not at the same time, or 1 cup of coffee.
Okay.
If I am to have caffeine in the day, I wouldn't have more than that.
That's very measured of you.
Yes, because I also like chocolate, and I discovered there's caffeine in chocolate, and it's like,
there is. It hides everywhere.
It does. I bought a Diet Coke quite early on, thinking, haha, I am being clever. No, they just replaced the sugar with caffeine to make it taste good.
Pretty much. Yeah. If it tastes good, it's probably bad for you.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
This is the way it works. I was depending on how I get these out, but I think the next episode, the episode before this one should be the one I've just recorded with my sister. And she was talking about how in quarantine, how does she make an iced coffee? And I was like, well, let me tell you about something called the Emily.
I've forgotten about this.
Oh, well, I haven't. I still drink them. And I then forgot to say in the episode how to make an Emily. So, Emily, as the inventor, namesake, could you explain how to make an Emily?
I'm not even sure I remember because it was so long ago. But from what I can remember that I used to do, and this is really insulting to all of the tea people, and I'm really sorry because we're talking about coffee. But
we digress.
And it's also insulting to coffee people because it's not how you're meant to do it at all. You just get some instant coffee, which is already a terrible start, and you melt it a little bit with some hot water, just a tiny bit of hot water though. You're nodding your head like, yes, this is how I do it. So this is good.
This is how I do it.
And then you dump some sugar in as well, and then you fill it up with milk.
And
that's it.
That's an Emily.
Ooh, that's not a good time.
No, that is called living on minimum wage in London. That's what that is. That's what that's called.
That's a good time at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. Honestly, I genuinely still enjoy those. And yeah, if I need my caffeine, especially at the moment where I can't go out and get like a decent coffee, if I need a little caffeine fix at home, I've been making those.
Wow, what a legacy.
Great.
Oh, yes. Gifts that I bestowed on you. Honestly.
I know. You're a gift that keeps on giving, Emily. I now know about Anna and afternoon tea. I could make myself an Emily. Like, it's great.
We can talk about scones a little bit more because to answer the debate, I mean, we've done the whole scone thing, which you very cleverly managed to avoid any kind of
confrontation.
Yeah. But is it cream or jam first?
Oh, it's definitely jam first.
Oh, is it though?
Oh, no. No. How would you even begin to put cream on and then layer jam on top of it? It would slide all over the place.
If you use the cream, like really thick butter.
No.
I can't get any support for this. So, yeah, I'm a disgrace to the family. I genuinely am. My granny's told me off about this. It's true. It's true.
Sorry,
because
I'm going to have to agree with your granny.
Yeah.
Because especially if you have, I mean, the ultimate scone, I just can't. The ultimate scone is definitely one that has been heated or is fresh out of the oven.
Yeah.
In fact, at my wedding, I remember, so I had afternoon tea as my wedding meal for all our guests, which was lovely.
Right.
And I was that person. Did you? Excellent. I remember having the conversation with the venue, and I turned to them and I was like, could the scones be warmed? And they looked at me like, well, ask the chef on a good day. And I was like, okay. And they were. And if it's a warmed one and you put the cream on first, the cream gets all melty, and then slides away.
Not if you put enough cream on.
If you know. I mean, we go. Oh, see, the amount of things that I have to attribute to the fabulousness that is your family. You introduced me to clotted cream.
It's a great time.
It's so good.
That's from my granny. My granny's all about clotted cream.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't remember why we had some kind of cake. It must have been a scone. But I remember trying it and I was like, I have been missing out up till now.
Yeah, you need to get on clotted cream because it's a real winner. I don't think it's a real scone if you don't have clotted cream on it.
No, it needs that. It needs to be warm. It needs to be fruit. I like a fruit one.
Okay.
I'm a fruit. Do you like a plain?
I don't mind either, but I prefer a plain.
You prefer a plain one? I've got my sisters. It's my sisters who are like vehemently against fruit-based cake, like this, scones and stuff with the raisins. I'm like, no. I'm like, that's fine. I'll have those. And you can share the others.
Pass them over.
Yeah. So really, we'd be a very good pairing to go to an afternoon tea because then we'd divvy up the food.
Once we can, move freely around the country again, let's do that.
Yes, we should. We definitely should. So I'm just thinking like back to afternoon teas I've had before. I can think of probably the best afternoon tea I've had and the worst afternoon tea I've had. Ooh, so good. What would you say your best and worst, and I will tell you my best and worst.
Oh my word. I can't think of a worst one because they've all been
so good.
Honest with you.
Yeah, this is it.
I was actually thinking, where is the best one that I've ever been? But they've all been pretty good. And I can't think of any like standout ones because they've all just been excellent. Mm-hmm. I've been very spoilt in my afternoon teas.
See, I have. The worst one for me was through no fault of the afternoon tea itself. It was all due to my planning. So for my dad's 60th, I think I have talked about this on the podcast before. For my dad's 60th birthday, I decided to book him an afternoon tea because also a present for Emma, let's face it. So we'll do that. Yeah. And it's a really nice activity. He can't walk very well, so it was a nice sit-down activity we could do together, just the two of us, and it'd be really lovely. But I went, can't just do an afternoon tea. No, we have to go one step further. So I booked it on a boat. I booked it on a flat-bottomed...
Sounds like a great time, though.
Sounds brilliant on paper, doesn't it? Flat-bottom boat that would go down the Thames and back up again in the space of an hour. And it was like you could have all these different blends of tea, and you got a glass of fizz with it. It was proper. Like you had the scones, you had the cakes, the whole kit and caboodle. And we sat down, and I was like, "This is great." And we set off. And then I remembered that I get seasick. Oh my God. I sat there and I kid you not, I ate one singular piece of Battenberg and I ate that from the minute that we left and I was still nibbling it as we pulled back in again because I had to stare. I had my back to my dad the entire time because I had to just stare out the window looking at the horizon of the river, eating this Battenberg, and Dad was occasionally walking up and down the boat, and it was awful. He had a great time. He had all the sandwiches. I took some bits of cake to go to have later. I did, yeah. It was so lovely. There was like a piano player. It was really fancy, and my dad just sat there like really worried, and then also like, why did you book this?
Why would you book this when you get seasick?
It's just terrible. I do this all the time. I love the river and I love boats, and if it's open air I tend to be perfectly fine, but as soon as it gets larger than like a dinghy we're starting to get a bit we get a bit choppy there.
Maybe don't do that again then. No more meals on boats.
No more meals on boats. There's two occasions in recent years where, so prior to this I had been on and this is going to sound ridiculously fancy now, but somehow through work, very jammily, not being part of the marketing department, I got invited on a marketing trip that involved going on a yacht in France for the day. Like, kid you not. It was the poshest thing I think I've ever done in my life.
So swanky.
And I spent most of it sat on the deck. I know. Who was this woman? I spent most of it sat on the deck, as we were sailing anyway, sat on the deck in a blanket, clutching water shakily, because I just couldn't. Oh. They did this really, and because I'm vegetarian, they put all this special food on for just me. So the chef had made all this, and I couldn't eat it, and there was a burrata incident, and I just, oh my God. It was... So this had happened, and I still booked the afternoon tea on the boat afterwards.
You're like, I know it'd be a really good idea.
Yeah.
More meals on boat.
Yeah. Second time's the charm. Here we go.
Oh, jeez. No dinner cruises.
No,
don't do anything like that.
I need to stop. Yes. Just talk me down from that ledge. If you ever hear a whisper of me doing this again.
Oh, brilliant.
Emily, I'm planning a great surprise for Charlotte. There's going to be a boat.
No, Emma. No.
Stay back.
Don't do it.
Oh dear. So that was the work, but it would have been really, really nice. Definitely. And my favourite afternoon tea at the moment, I have to say, is at Biddy's. I feel like I'm just like a cheerleader for Biddy's in Norwich at the moment, but they're so good, and I really miss them right now because I can't go there. But they do afternoon tea, and it's like doorstop wedges of things. You get these huge sandwich, like it's nothing dainty, huge sandwiches, huge pieces of cake, and the best scone in the world, which is the lavender, and it's a lavender scone with lemon curd, and
oh, that sounds like a great time.
Yes.
Yeah. That sounds like a really good time. But you can get afternoon teas delivered as well, which is a great time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Betty's, as in York, the famous cafe in York, they do kind of cream teas or afternoon teas delivered. There's definitely some companies out there that will deliver you an afternoon tea.
I think I need to look into this.
I feel like you do.
For research purposes.
Yes, purely research purposes.
I owe it to myself and to these listeners to get the afternoon tea delivered, I think.
Yes. Oh, your next episode could be comparing and contrasting the different afternoon tea deliveries.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. I'll help you out. I'll get some too.
Yeah, you get some to yours. We will reconvene.
I'm loyal, and I will do these things for you. Let's do that.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. You could design a wonderful afternoon tea. Ooh. I imagine you would do a very good, like if you were to pick a theme, you know how you could get like a Harry Potter one, or you say the Beatrix Potter one, because the decorating of Emily's cakes is quite special. Like it's really, they're really good, honestly. They're cheerleading Emily now as well. They're really, really great. So I can imagine you do a really fun one.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, but you could do. I'm staring at a bunch of flowers, so you could do a really nice, like floral one, as you were saying, with the lavender scones and rose petals and all that sort of thing, and all the different flavors that you can extract from floral things. That would be quite a cool one. You could do historic ones where you do different cakes and bakes from different periods in history and do, historically themed afternoon teas. That could be quite cool. Yeah, you could do regional ones as well. Oh, you've triggered me off now. Yeah. That's it. Sorry, 10 minutes of this. This is exciting. You could do regional, because one of the things that I really love about baking is finding out about regional bakes and what people make in different parts of the country. So, it's technically not baking. It is baking, but it's not cakes and stuff. But where Ian's from, they have oat cakes because he's from Stoke, and I'd never heard of an oat cake before I went to Stoke.
I don't think I've heard of an oat cake. What constitutes an oat cake?
Oh, they're like a pancake, but more like a galette, kind of a lot thicker. And
okay.
You put bacon and cheese and things like that in them, and you have them with breakfasts, or you just have them.
Savoury cake.
Yeah, they're savoury. Yeah. I'd never heard of these before I went to Stoke, and I love that still around the country there are foods that are just so niche to that region, and I just think that's really interesting. So you could do, maybe not, I don't know, you could do oatcakes on an afternoon tea.
You could. Yeah, you could, like, just twist that up, because it's like you go abroad and you, like, whenever I go abroad, I'm like, okay, what is the food that you're supposed to eat here? And I want to eat that.
Exactly.
So we should do that around the country more as well.
Yeah, because I just think there's just so many interesting little cakes and bakes around the country that you get. So maybe I'll do some research.
More research.
And get back to it. Get on it, Eleanor. We're doing
it. Go. Oh, we're on to something now. Oh, that would be so great. Yeah, we'll have to revisit. So we've got deliveries of afternoon teas and regional afternoon teas to discuss in the future.
Yeah. I'll get on this.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna wrap things up there with our creative minds are turning. So thanks, Emily, for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me. It's been delightful.
It's been wonderful. I like any excuse right now to have tea with friends. It's just it's a win. It's definitely a win. So thank you for listening.
Changing world, tea is a very comforting constant.
Oh, put that on a t-shirt. I mean, yes, that's going to be the tagline. Quote under the podcast. I like it. So yes, thank you for listening, everyone. And I'll be back again in a fortnight. I'm not quite sure what the next episode is going to be because I'm going to try and record a few while I've got this extra time on my hands being at home. So who knows? It's going to be a surprise episode next week. So in a fortnight, sorry. So yeah, we'll see you then. Goodbye for now. Goodbye, Emily.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Bye.